Point blank, I really have no strong feelings towards Ironheart, even after watching the last 3 episodes. And honestly, I can say this with honest to God honesty in my heart. It's fine. Like, it's, if you're fine, like, it's nothing fantastic, but the show never made me like Riri or its direction of where it went, right? Like, her support system I liked more than her. Her villains here, just, dear God, like, Zeke Stain is a mockery of who he is in the comics, and Hood, fucking Parker Robbins. At first, I liked him because of the PR. It was fucking real. It was real. But as soon as I saw what they were doing with him and the shit with his dad, I couldn't take it serious anymore, right? Him serious anymore. Plus Mephisto coming here himself and being the one to give Parker his hood made my eyebrows arch like a collapsing bridge. There is a lot to unpack here, so let's start with the basics of the first 3 episodes. Riri gets kicked out of MIT because upgrading her suit or whatever the fuck she was trying to do, fucked up the entire building, caused so much damage, plus other infractions and issues that she was involved with, plagiarism and, a lot of fucking dumbass shit that she should not be doing, right? Not even taking her college career or whatever, right, seriously, because she just wants to use the resources. Mounted up to getting her expelled. And honest to God, it just didn't seem, she was genuine about taking accountability at all. And ends up taking her suit, right, which was created with grant money, right? Money given to her for this project that was promising, but she didn't really produce any results or anything, honestly, over the last few years besides the one suit she made. But that suit is just for her, though. It's not for anybody else, right? This is her baby. This is hers. All the money, all the research, all the funding, all the resources specifically. But what about everything she promised with the grant money that she was supposed to use it for, right? It was for these suits that was supposed to be for first responders and, paramedics, whatever, right? To be able to use in dangerous situations. But again, where is it at though? Like you put all this effort into this suit, like you're not trying to make prototypes, you're not trying to make stuff for mass production. What's going on here? Like nothing's happening, right? Which is wild as fuck because you think a woman with her genius, who says she wants to make suits to protect and help first responders in dangerous situations, blah blah blah, right? Would want to be able to get this out as fast as possible, but I don't know. She does what she does for whatever, right? Even if it's small inventions compared to the suit that would have helped make, life for first responders or whoever in the industry of emergency stuff, right? More effective to help people, to save people, right? Would have been great to be funded. And this would have been great to go ahead and help fund her fucking suit hobby. But nope, she doesn't do any of that. She just does other people's work. And it's frustrating. The direction they took with her. It just boggles the mind. So after she takes the suit, it goes offline because she was expelled and crashes. She takes the skeletons of the suit to her mom's place in Chicago. We all get introduced to the Hood and his crew, who I didn't really find really interesting at all. They're just lame as fuck. They find Riri, who needs money because, again, her obsession with the suit is driving her to these crazy ass actions because reasons, I guess. I know it's part of her little trauma or whatever the fuck, right? But go ahead and put some stuff out there in the market to help first responders even without a big ass fucking suit, right? But after a trial or whatever, right, from John and the Hood, she gets recruited and she accidentally creates a perfect version of her dead best friend Natalie. She does a job to basically extort the mayor's projects or whatever for funds. And their group gets, tons of money or whatever, right? Because I guess somehow putting your name on a piece of paper through duress, really forced all the money out of the mayor and her company or whatever the fuck, right? I don't know. It's not really believable for me, but whatever, right? She gets interested in the Hood's abilities after being saved by him, and she feels all icky about being a criminal, right? But at the same time, she's just doing crazy ass shit the entire time. So it hurts my brain, right? She then meets Zeke Stain, Ironmonger's son, who has been collecting high-tech gear because she needs, some tech, right, for her cybernetics the most. She uses some of his tech to hide a laser cutter for the next job because she wants a piece of Parker's hood for experimentation purposes or whatever the fuck, right? It wasn't really clear. I guess she was just interested in the hood, right? And she was doing this in the middle of a job where high-tech stuff is banned, and if found, CO2 gas will fill everybody. Spoilers, by the way. Because of Riri begins to panic because all the CO2 gas is filling up the place, John, who went in to try and save people or whatever, right? And the suit goes ahead and save people, right? While doing this, John discovers Riri's betrayal, tries to kill her. The suit comes in to save her, which, I guess locks the door behind her or whatever, right? And leaves him to die. He does fucking die. And we get caught up in episodes from this point on. And Riri feels so hurt and perplexed, and she feels shitty that she allowed somebody to die, and she's in this situation. I'm like, good. you left a man to die because you decided to go ahead and do this in the middle of a job, right? Knowing full damn well that somebody that can get with this with the hood, right? And you can't just take a piece there. I don't know. My brain hurts from thinking about this, but whatever, right? Riri is extremely paranoid about Parker knowing what happened. The Hood's crew gets together to hold a bit of a moment for John, but it was just so unserious, like naming generic aspects of him that they liked and then moving the fuck on. It wasn't touching, it wasn't heartfelt, it was just shallow, point blank. Only one we see hurting was Parker, but even then, right? All that was sidelined for his interest in Zeke Stain being arrested for having his tech. The same shit Riri dropped at the job, right? Found at the crime scene of a lot of death and murder and, right? As well as the illegal weapons at his house, right? That he was collecting. But somehow they didn't find his bunker, which, it gets pretty important later. All his bunker that's connected to his stuff. And his new name and everything. I don't know. I kind of convenient, I guess, that they didn't search that one, even though he's also one. He should be with his name. I don't know. I feel like, I guess maybe he paid in cash and it was, something that didn't really have a trail to. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Really convenient though. Also, for some reason, Riri was surprised that Zeke was arrested and upset with her and expected him to understand and wait for her to fix it. Fuck you mean? You're going to fix it. This isn't if it isn't a machine, she can't fix anything due to her shitty behavior and just crazy ass fucking tunnel vision optics towards things, right? She just makes things worse. And Zeke is justified in his anger with her. What the fuck, girl? You did this in the middle of a job for no fucking reason, right? Goes to her mom to talk about potentially getting involved with some magic stones or whatever, which actually turns out that Riri's mom, Riri's mom's friend, I'm getting fucking mixed up here. Riri's mom's friend and her daughter are actually sorceresses, and Zemma, which is the daughter, right? Actually kind of is getting taught by Strange or at the school in Nepal or whatever, right? Which is interesting-esque, right? But, this is just out of left field at this point. So you're like, oh, shit. What's going on here? But, Zemma, a character from the comics who went to Doctor Strange for help with brainworms, and Steve helps her and all this shit, and that's how she gets involved with Matt. It's just, pretty crazy that they brought in this whole aspect into this whole science space show, which, if she's dealing with a magic fucking hood guy with all these abilities, I guess it's fair, right? So she brings the piece of the I can't speak, a piece of the hood, guys or look into, and they get spooked by it. because it's some dark shit, and they kick Riri and the mom out. And after that, they get into an argument because Riri is still being shady as hell, and her mom just wants to help, and thought Riri was opening up to her by asking about like all these rocks and magic and all this other shit, right? And then we get the line, if you die to you, then don't ask questions, don't ask these kind of questions, or something akin to that. Which, honest to God, if I was her mom, I would have smacked the shit out of her. Like, girl, what the fuck? What are you talking about? I demand respect. I want honesty, and you're acting shady as fuck, right? And if my safety is in question, you're just giving me random fucking watches that, go ahead and put me in a fucking safety ball. I'm gonna need some fucking answers. So then I guess after this, Zeke gets recruited by the Hood, and then he fully cyborgs out, and Slug makes it so Parker is in command of Zeke like a fucking puppet. Riri goes to Zeke's bunker to try and destroy the piece of the Hood that she got, but nothing works. Only her laser can cut it, but every other option that she tried can't destroy this one piece. That's fucking weird. That's very convenient, that she can cut it, but she can't destroy it. But that makes no fucking sense. If you can destroy the fabric, then to cut it, then obviously something works. But I guess none of everything. But she then talks with Zema again about how to deal with all this, and basically demeans everything that she is actively trying to understand that Zema is trying to explain to her, which is fucking ridiculous and just annoying to listen to. Like you're asking about all this shit, right? And you're questioning everything, but you live in a world where there are gods and powerful beings, and you're questioning this, what? like what are you on? And then, dear God, the Blood Twins come in on orders to kill Riri for John, right? For some reason, they can't grab a girl that's only ability is her intelligence, and the only way she can fight back is with her fucking suit. These are quote unquote super athletes or some shit, right? It felt unbelievable that she was fighting back that well against two of them, then outsmarted them by having them shoot her, and then the bubble thing activated and trapped them. Highly convenient it's there. And also highly convenient that they use a gun this time, even though I don't think they've ever shown the gun before this, right? Super fucking convenient, right? Then we have Clown come in, and annoying character, but whatever. And she's throwing explosives. Nothing that really does any real damage. They just feel like fireworks, right? And she was outsmarted and gets blown back with a grenade in her hand. She drops it and it explodes. Basically, next thing happens, right? She doesn't get a limb blown off or anything, right? She doesn't get knocked out or anything or cause massive damage, right? So it was just unbelievable, I guess. And also, she Riri put in her brain like the question of what really killed Stu or whatever, right? And she has a problem with it, right? What do you mean? You guys are fucking criminals, right? The guy who screwed up a job, the guy who you guys who aren't afraid to kill, are not super touchy about the death of a guy who is not in the picture anymore. They are fucking criminals, thieves. Then when Clown confronts Parker about it, the whole group gets butthurt about Parker getting annoyed and wanting to kill, who has point blank been disrespectful and a fucking asshole the entire time. Think all this, and and she thinks all this is a fucking game. They are literally killing people. They are fucking criminals. They are hurting people, right? And oh yeah, they had Zeke come in, destroy her suit, and basically spare her for some fucking reason. She was saved multiple times because of fucking plot. Also, there's also Zeke here. Oh, Jesus Christ, my brain. I'm thinking of everything right now in my brain. I'm going through the entire show in real time in my fucking brain. Zeke in this goddamn show is goddamn fucking disappointing. He's a fucking disappointment because he is nothing like in the comics. Because in the comics, he's a real diabolical fucking bastard. He's unhinged and just insane, right? But yeah, I just completely just jumped into a whole different thing. But yeah, Parker fires his entire crew because I guess like they felt some type of way about Stu getting killed, even though like they were actively trying to kill Riri. And I don't know. It's fucking stupid. But anyways, basically they did the villain crashes out on his team and they leave, and the hero brings all the people who have been trying to help finally together to build a new suit that has magic as the power source. Which, I mean, okay, it's fucking magic. Like, I don't know how magic can be turned into raw power source for, electricity or whatever, right? They didn't much. Like, I don't know how you would convert magic into energy, maybe with some explanation on how they did it. It would be nice, but it was just kind of like a montage of them doing stuff, right? But it's magic. It's borderline self-explanatory, so I'm not really going to get into it or be mad about it, right? They did go ahead and use Dad and her put together as the material to create her new suit, along with other junk and the power of friendship. And honestly, I kind of like the suit, but kind of not. It just it's kind of Pacific Rimmy, I guess. But it's fine, I suppose, right? It's whatever. Then we get Parker and Zeke, who is being controlled by Parker due to voice command, and they storm a mansion that we earlier saw John and Parker try to break in and try to get something or whatever, right? And we find out that this mansion belongs to Parker's dad, some rich guy who had kicked him out at 12. And it's astounding that instead of making Zeke or Parker unredeemable villains, it just boils down to fucking daddy issues, which is insane to me. Like what do you mean? I guess like the message in there is like, I guess like of role models of like, I guess dads, because Riri's stepdad was an amazing role model, and look at the dad for Parker, who wasn't there, kicked him out, a little piece of shit, and that's the road he went down to, right? I don't know. It's just stupid because at the end of the day, like, we'll get to it. I almost just spoiled basically the ending right there, right? But Jesus, in the end, towards the end, Riri and frees him from Parker's control, which was kind of lame. He basically just threw her around and force lightning her here and there. And unlike the last time, her magic keeps up her suit and she takes him down, with him kind of like letting her, I guess. But he says thanks, but says like, oh, we aren't done yet. We aren't done beefing, It's really not a threat from a guy who got kicked in the dick just 2 seconds ago, and all he does is force lightning. So I really don't give a shit. She then fights the Hood, who went full on demon mode, and it was actually pretty fucking interesting until I guess she couldn't handle it and she blew up, but not really. It was all a ruse. There was actually an explosion, but I guess it didn't blow up her suit, I guess. And I guess maybe it was magic, right? The entire area was messed up from an explosion, but there really wasn't an explosion from her suit. So I don't know, maybe it was magic. It's a little bit messy here, right? But Riri takes Parker's hood and then leaves. And then that's when she goes downstairs and meets Mephisto, who pretty sure these guys just copied the whole aesthetic and personality and whole vibe from Lucifer, from the Lucifer show. Accent, asking, what do you most desire? Foreign, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But he makes her a deal to bring back Natalie. Same kind of deal that he made with Parker about getting the tool craves. And she does it. She's the same as Parker. She did the same thing as Parker. She made a deal with the devil, literally. And that's where it all ends. Point blank. Then we get a scene with Zema and Hood interacting, with all hints towards a season 2. And honestly, after watching the show, I don't fucking care. I don't feel like Riri is a character I like. She got kind of better towards the end, but that was because of plot. And that's just how plot made her to come to her senses. It wasn't just her. It just wasn't just her realizing she was a fucking asshole to her mom and not supporting her, not giving her like the best place, and just being obsessed with a suit or what. And because god damn it, like I get it, like, you know, a lot of her actions were driven by her trauma and everything, right? But trauma doesn't give you the right to be a fucking asshole, right? It's still not going to make me like you. Like, I understand why you feel this way, and, you know, what happened, right? What's going on, why you're reacting and acting this way. But it still doesn't make me like you for being a fucking asshole and not being likable and just having the personality of somebody who just doesn't take accountability for her actions, and just, I wouldn't say annoying, it's just unpleasant, right? I liked her supporting cast better, like her mom, stepfather, Xavier. And also, how the fuck does magic interfere with an AI construct? Like, that was fucking stupid. They just did that just for plot, just for the ending. I did enjoy how the AI of Natalie helped Riri deal with her trauma and loss, but it always gets fucking awkward anytime, you know, she starts talking about the real Natalie, the real one, and began demeaning the AI. That, right? It just gets really awkward and kind of like turns me off from the scene. Parker's whole motivation coming from his daddy issues is hilariously bad. Like, it's not like he was a crazy villain without it. He was just greedy, and that was really it. But goddamn, like, was this like the driving point to his demon form, or and, you know, just fucking up Riri for 2 minutes? I mean, it was cool. Like, I like the effects. I like how it was. I needed more of that. It would have been cool if, like, we saw that as being him taking down all those guys instead of just taking them down normally with just his regular face. He didn't transform or anything. It would have been cool if he did transform, and that's what made Riri believe in all that shit, right? But dear God, daddy issues all around. Jesus, now I just think about it. Zeke too, like, he was a fucking major disappointment. Like, man's whole power was basically just being Palpatine and Force lightning Riri, which worked the first time, but now with magic in her corner, she can now sustain it, kinda, right? Zeke is an unstable, unhinged bastard, but here he's just some guy who was dealt a little bit of a bad hand, and, you know, just wants to get back a little bit because of a reckless young girl fucked up his life, I guess. The Hood's group of thieves is probably one of the most unlikable parts of this show. That makes no sense. A plucky group of individuals who all have their skills and issues, but apparently the guy who fucked up badly and can't be trusted with their lives, but willing to kill Riri because she killed John, who they really didn't give a fuck about, for real, right? It just blows my fucking mind. The Blood Twins, who have this loyalty to Stu and, like, family and all this and that, while also being the same ones to be built to be these super athletes who and are bad as hell, who don't give a fuck, who are out for themselves, but draw the line at the murder of an ex-coworker who put their lives at risk. And we never really get any build-up with their crew at all, besides the one job that he fucked up on. So, what the fuck? Like Clown as well. Like, Clown, whose whole thing is blowing shit up and being disrespectful, draws the line at this too. She care about Stu. Like, that's all we know, is that they signed up for making money and, you know, just, you know, being rich. Like, so what's the problem here? Like, they are fucking criminals, for fuck's sake. Doing crazy shit and killing is not new. Like, it's part of the fucthem Death is part of the fucking program. Natalie and Riri's mom of the show, because they were her biggest supporters. Them and Xavier. But, you know, they kind of like try to make him like a love interest that never really like hit, I guess. Like, you know, they were hinting towards it, which they will probably do something with season 2 or whatever. I don't fucking care, right? Personally, I like Zemma. I wonder if they will kind of like cross into like the Academy of Strange. Could be especially cool, especially with Billy and other people that can join the school, which is probably, I guess, what they're hinting to, but whatever, right? It's fine. I guess if they do it right, it could be interesting, I guess. I don't know. I do think Mephisto being here feels so out of place, though. I see people are saying like it's as big, He Who Remains, and like they are just using this guy to go ahead and create a reason for them to make season 2. There's no bigger implications other than Riri's like deal with him to bring Natalie back to life. If he had been introduced in Agatha all along, that would have been so much more fitting and interesting, especially with the story they were crafting there, right? But at the end of the day, the show isn't something I'd personally would gravitate towards. Riri isn't someone I like as a person, and personally, I just don't like the direction of her or the show. But it could have been interesting if I'm not gonna make a whole video about what ifs, right? But the fact that they are sidelining any outside support that before the show astounds me. Riri, for the love of God, a conversation with Shuri. Yes, the same one who knows about Thanos, aliens, gods, and other beings, that she would not be interested in fucking magic or something Riri herself can't understand. I think she would definitely be interested, but apparently Riri knows better. Like that's how a multitude of problems happen, because Riri knows better, and she is smart as hell. I will never go ahead and take that away from her. She is a fucking genius, but god damn it, she is blind as shit to the fires going on around her because she thinks she knows better and knows what to do, and can't stay in her fucking lane because she's nosy as shit. If she didn't try to get a piece of Parker's hood, the group and her would have been fine. Like, we built up her empire and made inventions for quote unquote noble reasons, right? A noble cause. She will be swimming in money and support. Like, she literally had a fucking grant. Like, that was like an indicator that people like were wanting to support her projects, but she never gave anything back to them, right? Like, their money was for that would make I can't speak, my brain. Like, the grant money was meant to help create a pathway towards suits that would go ahead and help emergency responders, right? But nothing came of this. Like, what do you mean? Like, the decision she falls out just falls out of the realm of reality, because who would be this nosy, right? Who would go ahead and question this shit so much, right? They had to, because it's a fucking quote unquote superhero show. Who would waste all this fucking potential? The writers, apparently, who wrote this shit, because they couldn't use her intelligence, support, and power because they wanted to create something connecting to magic, right, in this way. And whatever, right? For me, this show, if I'm going to be honest, is a 4. But in reality, it's a 5, right? It's average. The only thing that brings the score up is the interesting aspects the show had, and disappointingly, at least for me, like, if they could have done better, at least to me. Like, I can see the appeal to the show, especially taking everything at face value, and it's not bad at all, but the more you think about it, the more the cracks and more visible, problems can be seen. But what do you guys think of the series? I personally think that the only thing that is positive that comes from this is the more magic being developed. I think that's good, especially with Doom around the corner. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts about the series in the comments below. Thank you so much for the support and subscribing to the channel. Just thank you so much for all of it. And stay safe and healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. See you guys next time. Peace. And yeah, I can't stop talking. Thank you so much. Next time. Peace.